Today we're gathered to learn about some of the artists of Great Neck. We have a number of resident ones, and we have, I believe, a visiting person also. The order will be George Abrahams, Noel Parquet, Fran Medoff. Is Fran on?
You hear me now?
Fran. And Linda Abraham.
Yes.
I hear you on my telephone.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm hanging up. Rona, I hung up. Okay, so George, would you like to start, please, and tell us about your lovely artwork?
Go ahead.
George?
George. Thank you, Rona. We're doing that. Rona, thank you. Thank you for everybody being together. It's very nice to see so many people that I've known for so many years. My story, I'm born and educated in Cape Town, South Africa, and I was licensed as a solicitor, an attorney in 1959, and I practiced full time. In about 1970, I decided that I wanted to do something more creative than just litigating, cross-examining witnesses, defending people who probably deserve to go to jail anyway, and doing my best to expose untruths. At that point, I decided to attend art classes at the local technical college. That's after a day in court and a day working. The class was taught by a professional artist, Philip Terblanche, who went on to become a very well-known South African artist. We were taught in a practical way. No art theory, no art history, but he taught us perspective, proportionality, color mixing, and how to create the illusion of depth. So I hope you don't view this discussion as a discussion on art appreciation or art history, because if that's why you signed in, you're in for a big disappointment. From time to time in South Africa over a weekend, our group went into the countryside with our instructor, Philip, and we painted. This is the only example I have of my work from 1971. And it's hard to believe that it's almost 50 years ago.
Oh, nice.
I painted this old house very carefully, placing each stroke in what I thought was just the right place. The instructor took one look at it and he told me to scrape off most of my careful work, which gave the old building the look and essence of what it was, an old house. So what you're looking at is after everything, after all my careful work was scraped off. Now that all ended in 1977 when Myrna and I decided to emigrate to New York for all the reasons you can imagine connected to apartheid. I didn't paint again for many years while establishing myself as an attorney in New York and practicing full time. But about 2004, the bug struck again, and I started painting with lessons at Great Neck Adult Ed with Mina Rabani as the instructor. I highly recommend her. She's wonderful with beginners and with advanced, but particularly with beginners. Again, the instruction was practical and not theoretical, and emphasized the same lessons learned so many years before at the Technical College in Cape Town: perspective, proportionality, and so on. I stopped painting from about 2006 when Myrna became ill, and didn't paint again till 2013 when a friend who I'd been painting with at Adult Ed pressed me to begin painting again. I joined a group at Rosalind School of Painting. It's a very sociable group, and I'm still painting with them. Painting by yourself is a very lonely pastime. The group is very supportive of each other and provides the motivation to keep at it. It's a strange phenomenon when you start a painting and it gets to a point you really don't like it, but they develop, paintings develop as one paints. You may start off hating what you're working on, but as time goes by and you make adjustments, the painting seems to take shape and becomes acceptable. I think the old expression, perspiration, not inspiration, applies. You just have to keep at it, even if you don't like what you're doing. Now, I like to take photos of places I've been and then paint from those photos. I have paintings from photos taken in South Africa, England, Israel, Alaska, Provence, Delaware, and of course, Great Neck. I would have liked to show you some of these paintings, but what happened was that the mayor of Great Neck Plaza asked me to show my paintings at the gallery in the courtroom of the plaza. If you didn't know, the courtroom is also fitted out as a gallery. So I put 23 of my paintings on display at the gallery. The opening was on February the 19th. The exhibition was extended by the village to the end of March, and because of the coronavirus, all my paintings are still there in involuntary quarantine and self-isolation. Can't get to them. So once the Plaza office reopens, please go and see the exhibition. I'm just going to leave it there till the end of May, assuming that life gets back to something near normal. All the paintings are still there, except for two, which I was able to deliver to the buyers after the closure of the Plaza offices. If you missed the opening, you missed a great party. And I know some of you were there, and I appreciated your attendance, and you can testify to the rest what they missed. That said, I only have 4 paintings of my own at home, which I would like to show you. These paintings are all based on the paintings of other artists, which I did as a learning exercise. I don't want to represent to you that they are my original work. But you know, when you go to a museum, you often see artists sitting, painting and copying masterworks. It's a wonderful way of learning how to paint. So the first painting I want to show you is the original hangs in, I don't remember the name of the art museum in Munich. I photographed it and copied it because I wanted to see if I could do a painting in only one shade of blue. The original is all blue. I only use blue as the dominant color. That is blue in all its shades. It's difficult to distinguish the sky, the mountains, the sea, and the background when everything is blue. It is really a function of shades of the same color. Even the dark parts, the tree, etc., believe it or not, although they look dark, they are a shade. They are all a shade of blue. That's the first one. The second, believe it or not, is from a calendar. I really liked the lavender color. And I did this as a small painting about, I would say about, can you see the painting properly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I did the small painting about 11 by 8, and I completely forgot that I had given it to my younger daughter. I saw it one day in her bedroom and decided to do it again as a full-size painting. My daughter Bonnie objected on the ground that if there was another version out there, it would reduce the value of her copy. Wait a minute, moving right along. This third painting is a larger one. It is, again, it's based on a painting by an artist whose name I can't remember.
Okay.
I really like the rocks in the front.
I thought they were turkeys.
And the fact that the houses in the original were a little different, but I just changed the houses to make them look more countrified and old. But it was the rocks that really attracted me. And wait a minute before I drop it. And the fourth and final picture that I want to show you, I made after I'd seen an exhibition at the Nassau County Museum of Art. It was an exhibition of food paintings. So if anybody would like a piece of chocolate cake, here it is. By the way, if you haven't discovered that little gem of an art museum, the Nassau County Museum of Art, try it. You'll like it once you've been there. when things get back to normal. In addition, it's got beautiful grounds. So I urge everyone on this call to try painting as a hobby. It's so rewarding emotionally, even if you maintain that you can't draw a straight line. The key is that none of the lines in your painting will be required to be straight. If you would like to see more of my paintings, you can either go to the office of the Great Neck Plaza when it opens, it's not open yet, or you can go to my website. Anybody interested to go to my website? I will, I'll hold it up. If you have pencil and paper, you can write it down. It's at Etsy. And if you can see that,
Oh, he sells.
it's etsy.com/shop George's Art Studio. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I hope that you find
That's what
some of these
makes-
paintings interesting, especially my landscapes, my favorite, which are at the gallery at the Great Neck Plaza offices. Any questions?
Thank you.
Very
Okay,
good.
can anyone hear me?
Yes.
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 Oh, she's back.
I'm back. Stop talking about me, yes. Am I
Can
too
you hear
loud?
us?
What?
Fine. Good.
Can you hear us?
Yes,
Yes.
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 Oh,
I don't know, and I will never
Okay.
be able to do this
But I
again.
need to mute.
George, I have to say, Lenny and I think Lenny and I were in Israel when you had your opening, so we didn't attend. But I've seen many of your paintings. I love them. I think you have a talent. I'm so happy your friend encouraged you to start painting again. You know, what a wonderful thing to be a part of your life. I'm sure it's enriched your life in many ways. And enrich the life of the people who have gotten to see your paintings. They're very nice. They're lovely.
Barbara, that's very nice of you to say that. And I must say that painting is, I mean, I'm not an artist, I'm not artistic, but I love sort of seeing landscapes.
George, stop saying you're not artistic. You are very artistic.
thank you, George.
George, you have a gift.
I
So
hope I'm not expanding my time
Into it.
here. This is a street scene in the Malay Quarter, the Muslim quarter of Cape Town. It's in progress at the moment. It's like I told you, you hate a painting when you start and it develops. Now, in this painting, the sky is probably okay. The background is too strong. The background I have to make the background go back, and I have to bring the mosque. This is a mosque.
And there are a couple of straight lines. You might want to make them crooked.
That's because I haven't put in the shadows. It's got to get shadows. It's got to get shadows between the buildings. There's roof lines having to be outlined. Part of it in white. There's a shadow between the buildings, and it will look quite different when it's finished. This has been a project during our incarceration, whatever you call it.
George, we will have you back we'll have you back when it's finished. We have to go on.
Yeah, we want to see it when it's,
All right,
we
thank
want to
you.
see it when it's finished.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have Noel? Thank
Hi,
you, George.
Rona. How are you?
I know,
Can you all see me?
Yes,
No.
No.
I have to make you
Oh.
bigger.
Noel Parquet?
Bigger.
Don't you see me?
I'm working on it.
I'm on the top.
I know.
Issues.
Something happened here. I don't know.
All right, well, I want you, we are, as you know, we are all amateurs.
Yeah. Nobody here is ready for prime time.
So this was quite an undertaking, and next year we'll be much better.
I can't spotlight you. I'm sorry. I'll keep trying. But please
You hear
start.
me?
Yes. Yes.
I see Noel,
Please
but
start.
I still see George.
yeah.
I still see.
You can't get rid of me.
I'm sorry.
Carol,
I
can we
can't,
get?
I can't seem to, I'm working on it. I can't seem to get it, but please start. Can you guys start?
Okay, Noel, could you just start speaking and we will, and maybe she's gonna work on it.
She's muted. Muted.
That's developed. I haven't gotten this going yet.
He's muted, yes. Voila.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. Good. Hello, everyone. It's really good to see all of you. And I hope you're all well and safe, and we can see each other soon. I'm in Florida now, and the sun is shining. It's beautiful here, and I hope Great Neck gets that beautiful sunshine soon also.
Very much design.
Let me tell you a little bit about my background in painting. Firstly, I thank you, Rona, for asking me to speak. And I thank you, George, for your most enlightening talk and for the opportunity of being able to see your paintings hanging in your home and your development as an artist all these years, and the inspiration that you take from the beautiful landscapes. And most important, I've seen the pleasure that painting gives to you, and that makes me happy for you.
But it goes further.
Let me tell you about myself and my background in painting. I've always loved art. I love everything beautiful and pretty. I've always appreciated art of every single type of media. And when I was in college, I took painting classes and I took art appreciation classes, and Bob and I have visited museums and galleries and studios all over New York and all over the world. And it's just been a love and a passion for us. And I really stopped painting after college and didn't paint again until about 10 years ago, when I decided, gee, I have time, and this is what I really would like to do with my time. So I take lessons in Hewlett with a woman named Iris Gorenberg. And
Interesting, both of them are South African.
And she's a wonderful, wonderful teacher. And she teaches all the techniques that George spoke about, that his teacher in Cape Town and his teacher here imparts to their students. And she goes individually and helps us all with what we need help with. And so I paint only once a week when I'm in New York. When I'm there, I'm totally absorbed in it. I love painting. When I first started, my first painting was a big, I took a big undertaking. I decided to copy a Gustave Klimt portrait of Adele Bauer-Bloch.
Oh.
And I spent months and months and months working on it. And it's hanging in my home in Great Neck. And it's really quite, I had a lot of fun doing it, but it can't compare to Klimt's at all.
Oh,
So I hope you finally have me.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I really don't like copying that much. So now my next try was portraits, and who better to do portraits of but my beautiful granddaughters. So I did two of the girls. The girls did love them, but their parents did not think they captured the essence of their gorgeous daughters. So I said, okay, I spent all this time and energy working, and this isn't really what I want to do either. So I said, what do I want to do? I want large canvases. I want to use, I like large canvases. I like bright colors. I like the use of both positive and negative space that in a pleasing way. And I like to add texture and a lot of paint to my works. And most of all, I like just creating as I'm working. And it's a process. And I use acrylic, which is much easier than oil because it dries quickly and you can paint over it quickly. Or you can paint over it in without leaving much time. And I just like the creativity of being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. So I have 4 paintings here in Florida that I emailed to Rona, and I think she emailed them to you. So do you guys have them?
Yes.
I have them.
Yes.
Okay.
Carol has them.
Do you have any order that you want them in?
Well, the first one is called Spring Blossoms. I also have it on my iPhone. I'm going to try to hold it up to the camera. Can
I
you
got
see?
it. Hang on 1 second.
She's gonna show it to you. Carol will show it to you.
No, that's okay. I know which one it is. I got it.
The one with all the different colors on the dark background. Can you show that, Carol?
I love that, Noel. So attractive.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, I see it. It's not bright like the original.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
Yeah, can you see it here next to me
Not ours.
on the iPhone?
the iPhone is great.
Okay, well, anyway, it's called Spring Blossoms. It's a diptych. It's 2 canvases that were matched in the middle, which is really hard to do. And it's just a use of color and space with a dark background that makes the colors explode more.
It's so attractive. My
So yes, it's hanging in one of the bedrooms here, and it happens to match the color of the bedspread. So anyway, so I brought it down to Florida, and I enjoy it. The second one is called
Can you see this?
Circle of Love. Can you see it?
Yeah, you know what?
Yes.
It's good on the iPad because it's illuminated from behind. So it's good on the iPad.
Yeah, my light comes into my house, and I don't have anything to blacken the room.
You could see it well.
But anyway, it's on a white background, so I guess it's harder to see. But it's called Circle of Love because if you look very carefully, it has hearts in it of all different shapes. There are blue ones and yellow ones and green ones, and they're elongated and widened.
Maybe hold it a little closer to the camera.
It doesn't show.
Oh. Okay.
You have to press on it again.
Let me try.
That's much clearer than the prints that I printed out.
Yeah.
Wait, I lost it. I'm sorry.
It is when you see it, it's all.
Can you share the screen?
I don't know how to.
No, I meant, could Carol share the screen?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Now I lost it altogether. Let me try one
Sorry.
more time to get it.
What?
See it now?
But that's
Lower.
Hold it down. Hold it down.
That's the first one. Where's the
It's
next?
not the circle of love.
Here's,
That's good. Yeah, good. Good.
okay. So it has the hearts in it, and it has of different colors and shapes, and it also has masks in it. And with the masks, you can see love in all different ways. So that is this painting, Circle of Love. And the third one that I have here is actually a work in progress. You can't really see it very well at all.
Oh, right there's good. It's good.
And I must admit I haven't made much progress these past 2 months, but I'm hoping to, I will work on it again soon. And it's just taking roses, flowers, because I love flowers and they're beautiful. And I just placed them on a piece of canvas in a way that was pleasing to me and made them any shapes that I wanted. And I'm working on it. It has a lot of texture in it, and I don't think you could see it, but in the corner right here is the word love, 4 block letters in a circle that says love in red. And
Put it a little low.
and I signed one other painting like that, and my name also. And I think I'm going to use those block red letters in a circle on all the paintings I make in the future as a symbol.
Nice, nice.
And my last one that I have here in Florida is actually right behind me. Can you see that?
It could be 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you can see it well, right?
We could, not now.
Now do you see it on my phone?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
It's on the wall. It's good now.
Okay, it's called Waterfall. And again, I just did what I wanted with bright colors, and water is always beautiful and peaceful, and it had a lot of blues in it, and it just reminded me of a waterfall and had movement. So that's the last painting I have here in Florida. I have many more in Great Neck. I hope to be coming back soon. I'm sure I will. And I find painting totally, totally absorbing. You are lost in what you're doing. You can't think of anything else but what you're painting. I've been doing it now for about 10 years. I really only do it in class. I sometimes finish up works at home, but I enjoy having the teacher come by. She's a great help to me. She's fabulous with colors. And some of the students in the class are tremendously, tremendously talented. and we critique each other.
Noel, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to,
Okay,
only because
good to be with you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Noel.
you.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we really have to get, we have to give everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you,
And they were
Rona.
beautiful, and thank you.
Beautiful, Noel. Lovely, lovely.
And you should have the pictures on an email. If you don't, I'll get them to you. I'll get them for you. All right. I'm sorry. Linda, are you still with us? I hope we didn't lose Linda because she isn't feeling well. She isn't feeling well today.
She's on mute.
She's on
I'm
mute.
getting rid of her a second.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Linda Abrams. Yes. Yes. Who is not feeling well, and she just wanted to share with us, and I
Yeah, I
appreciate it.
appreciate. Well, it's nice to see everybody and to learn things about people that I never knew that talents that they had. So I'm enjoying this very much. My art is called calligraphy, which means beautiful writing, and I've taken it down different roads. I'm sure many of you have received envelopes, invitations that were addressed by me over the years. I've been doing this for 40 years now. And, but I want to speak about the kind of calligraphy that I do and that I really love. And it's called calligrams, which means pictures made out of words. So I took a class one day, and I've taken many classes in calligraphy. And this, we had a wonderful teacher at this time. It was local guild. And so she had us draw a picture, just the outline of a fish. And then she wrote on the blackboard all names of different fish related things, and the kinds of fish, things about fish. And she said, now I want you to block off the fish. You just block off sections of the fish, and each section will have a different color. So
Move it over a little bit. Can't see what you're doing. Right, better.
So I feel like everything that's going to be in here is going to be pink, okay? And then she said, no, just take any word and just fill it in to make it like if you have a shape that's like, let's say a shape like this, you want to write, let's say guppy. So you write G-U-P-P-E. Okay, and it fits. She taught us how to fit words into a shape. It's almost like doing a jigsaw puzzle in reverse. So we filled it in, and then I started, taking different roads. So I want to show you some of the things that I did with this concept. And here's something I did one similar to this for my favorite oral surgeon, Charlie. This isn't I don't think this is the one.
It was hanging in his office all those years.
Oh yeah. Well, he'd hung longer than I did one for my aunt, who's my uncle was a dentist, and she said, "Oh, I'd love you to do that." So I did a little one for her, and she said, "This is perfect." She says, "I'm going to put it in the second room over here. This is the one where we take the X-rays." And that was not exactly a compliment. And then she, having already put her foot in her mouth, she said, "And also there's a hole in the wall, so I really wanted to cover up the hole." So that was Aunt Bertie. So then I got, I had a very nice hand surgeon worked on my hands one time. So I did a hand painting, and this time every word, everything that was in this had the word hand in it, or the sound of the word hand. Like you'll notice, let's see, I can't find them. I got handrail, hands, Christian Anderson,
Yeah,
Second,
handsome. He must have liked the handsome part.
yeah, handsome. Hand to mouth, handcuffs, um, hand me downs. So then, so I gave that to him. He was really very pleased.
And
Then had an orthopedist, so I did all orthopedic words. So if you look behind the
Wow.
skeleton, you have all different orthopedic words. Some were orthophony words, like
It's so interesting, Linda.
yeah, like let's see, I had trick knee, which really isn't an orthopedic word. I had elbow macaroni,
That's adorable.
a little humor into it.
yeah.
And I did one with birds. So this has all words, all names of words.
Aw.
Wow, this is so beautiful.
And then, it's after a while, you run out of words after a while. So I did Tweety Bird. I did different birds. And then we had a person in my knitting group loved crocheting, so we did a whole crocheting.
Oh.
And they did
Beautiful.
such a-
It's so
Wow.
creative.
and it looks like a
So,
sweater.
so creative and unique. Where did you first get the idea from?
Well, I'd taken this class with this wonderful teacher, and she showed us this beautiful paint. I actually have a copy of it here if I can find it. And she had done a map of she drew a map of the United States, and she sort of sectioned off every state. And in every piece, in every state, she had named different cities within the state. So it was beautiful. So that's how I got my inspiration from that. I'll show you that when I finish mine. So then there was another knitting one. Knitting. Oh, it's a little bit okay. It actually, you can see it's the same shape of a sweater, but if it reads from left to right, and it's actually the instructions to make a sweater.
Oh.
As I got towards the bottom, I got a little bit. I also started running out of room for the instructions, so I wrote a note at the bottom saying, if you plan to use this to make a sweater, don't. Because it will not make a sweater. And then this one was one of the ones, my favorite. I did this picture for my mother. It was a rose. She had a chandelier in her den, which later I had in my den, and it was a Tiffany type fixture, and it had roses all around it. So I took a rose, picture, and I sectioned it off in colored sections, and I put all names of flowers in it, and I gave it to my mother, and she had it in her bedroom, hanging in her bedroom. And one day I had to submit something botanical to one of the local calligraphy guild exhibits. So I said, I'll borrow this one from my mom. So I went up to my mom to ask her, and she was sleeping, and I had to get to this exhibit, and it was already framed. And I said, I got to borrow it from her. I'm not going to tell her. So I took it, and I put it in the exhibition, and I never gave it back to her, and she never noticed that it was missing. She had Bertie, they should live and be well. Okay, so here's my rose picture.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Of different flowers.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Very pretty.
Nice.
Pretty.
A theme, and I forgot what I did with the other one, but that it's my favorite thing. I just love it. I love putting humor in it where I can, and it's great. And as Noelle said, you sort of lose yourself in what you're doing, and it's not. It's just calligraphy to me is just something that keeps me grounded and it makes me happy, and I hope it makes other people happy too.
It's
That's it.
so
It does.
interesting. You took your calligraphy career and talent and moved it to the next phase into artwork. And I'm sorry if you needed hand surgery because of our bat mitzvah and wedding invitations for the mazer. So I apologize now. I apologize now for that. But the transition you made is just fabulous. You got that skill and moved it. It's fabulous, Linda.
And I would like to show my Linda Abrams, well, not an original.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Oh my.
That was when I find
Linda
that
made it for Rona.
since writing and words is my thing. I always make a handmade Jewish New Year card, and these are two of them.
Oh my.
Wow.
All right.
Beautiful.
Okay, thank you so much, Linda, and feel
Oh,
good,
welcome.
and we
My
hope
pleasure.
soon you'll be in. And finally, but not last, but not finally, because this is the beginning. This is our future. We'd like to have Talia Warber show us what she's doing.
Okay, well, hi everyone, and thanks Rona for getting in touch with me about speaking to you all. It's really nice to see everyone's artwork and to be in the company of such beautiful artworks. And also a great transition from Linda's work, because I started doing this art around Rosh Hashanah in 2002. In 2002, I was talking with my parents over the summer, and they had always sent out Rosh Hashanah cards. But we were talking about how after September 11th, it felt really difficult to send out a card that had, that talked about a sweet new year when it wasn't so sweet for many people. So we were trying to think about, what could be a way to really acknowledge the pain of the past year, but still keep the tradition going of reaching out to people. So, and when I was a kid, and my siblings too, we would design Rosh Hashanah cards for them. So we thought, why not do that again? So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you the first one that I made. Oh, actually, I don't. The host has to give me permission to share my screen, so I can't do that yet. So I'll wait to see if that's possible. But basically, in 2002, I started.
How do I do that? Excuse me, Talia, how do I do that?
I think if you hover over, I think you can make me a co-host and then I can do it. That's probably the easiest way.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Go for it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the first, I think you can see it. It looks like a whale.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is
beautiful.
the first one that I made in 2002, and I took the words from Yonah, and when he was like in the whale and lost in the waters and really going through the pain of that. And I just felt like that kind of, for me, reflected a lot of what had happened in the past year. And so each year this sort of became a tradition, and now I've been making them for almost 20 years. So I'm just gonna scroll through. This is actually the most recent to the oldest. And these are, and the ends are cropped off just because they're all different shapes and sizes. So these are the cards that I've made over the past several years. And each one has either a quote from the High Holiday Liturgy, or some prayer or Israeli song, or something that just resonated for me that year. And working on this really gave me an opportunity to think about like as the high holidays were approaching, to think about what I wanted to take away from the past year and what I wanted to project into the future. So that really, and usually I would come up with the idea in consultation with my parents, since it was their name on these cards. I didn't want them to feel like I was going so far astray or anything. But generally they said, do what you want. And so I did. And just to echo what Noelle said, that there's, I really also enjoy that freedom of just doing whatever you want to do. But also for me, having a text to quote to hem me in always helps me just like figure out what I'm going to make. So Rona asked me to also show you some things that perhaps you haven't seen before. This is my website that's still in development, so things are a little wacky coming down the pike right now. But last year I started a Torah portion series with, and I did a drawing for each of the Parshiot in Breshit. I could not manage to show them all for today. There's a few missing from this website, but it starts with the creation story of Breshit here, and then just each one a different drawing, and I kind of picked a different color scheme for each of the different patriarchs or parts of the story. And this became an interesting project for me because I feel like I struggle with a lot of the texts. There's a lot in the stories that are hard for me, and sometimes wrestling with it through making a drawing is a way for me to acknowledge its importance to me, but also to figure out what it means to me. And I think I'm also supposed to say what kind of media I use. For this series, I used mostly markers. I used some of my favorite markers to use. The problem with them is that they fade, and I learned this over the years with the Rosh Hashanah drawings, which is very unfortunate because they're really my favorite things to use. So I started, I'm going to scroll up a little bit again. The first one, the Yonah one, I did with pens, and that completely faded. The colors look totally different now. And so over the years, I started using more paint, gouache, watercolor, colored pencils, even crayons sometimes, just so that I would be able to make something that would last a little longer. And the last bunch of works that I have to show you is just miscellaneous pieces. This year, while we've been in quarantine in my family with my cousins as well, and aunt and uncle, we started doing drawings about once a week. So these are the more ambitious ones. I have some that are not quite as ambitious, but so I made one of Miriam and one just about Pesach and spring generally. For one of my cousins, he wanted me to make a drawing that was of Psalm 30, which is his favorite. So I did that knowing the color schemes that he liked. 1 year at Hanukkah, I did one for Light One Candle. And then this one is my favorite one, so I'm going to click on it for you. And this one, New Cage, which is a Jewish education organization, has an annual conference. And every year their journal has some artist making something with a tree and a quote. So they asked me to do it a couple of years ago. And I know most of my works that you've seen are very colorful, but I actually love just drawing with a black felt tip pen. Let's see. Yeah, I have one right here. Just the plain old black felt tip pen is kind of my favorite thing to use. And so this one I used a quote from the Zohar, which is, "How nice is the shade of these trees covering us. We must adorn this place with words of Torah." And I thought it was a really lovely quote, and especially for Jewish educators was pretty fitting. So that's my survey of my artwork. I don't know what's coming next, aside from another Rosh Hashanah card in a few months. Oh, I think we've lost.
What is your background?
Talia, how do you do this with all the little markings? It's amazing.
It's just a lot of patience, but I think Linda was the one who said this, that, or maybe everyone said some version of this, that just sort of like you lose track of time, and it's a great way to just have your hands moving and feel connected to what's going on inside, and just to not be focused on everything that's going on in your life or around you, and just just time. A lot of time of not thinking about, everything else going on.
Thanks. Amazing.
Oh, that's beautiful. So Talia, what are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future are to make another Rosh Hashanah card in the next couple of months. And
Looking forward, yeah.
and eventually I'm going to pick up the Torah portion series and probably do the rest of it. But I thought I was going to be able to knock all 50 plus portions out in 1 year, and that just became too much for me. So I think I'm going to spread it over time, and we'll see how long it takes. One day there'll be a calendar, maybe. And I've been also doing some artwork for non-Jewish related things, but I've been working on a video series that's storytelling. And so I have some artwork that I'm incorporating into that, and just seeing how I can blend it with different things I'm interested in.
But she does have a job.
It's a labor of love, yes?
Yes.
Does Michelle have a picture, something like that?
Thank you so much for coming, and we hope to repeat this in the future. I mean, we want to track your success.
Talia,
Thank you so much, Tom. I'm being a little abrupt. I'm sorry. It's just that I don't know what happened. As a matter of fact,
Oh no.
we only have a certain amount of time. So I don't know if you can even hear me. I'm stuttering as it sounds like.
Yes, we can hear you. We still hear you and see you.
But I just wanted to tell you we want to thank all these wonderful people, and to invite them and you to a continuation. We have so many
Everybody did the
talented
first week
people.
I did.
Iris?
What?
I was going to say I don't know. I'm getting an echo. I have so many talented people. We are going to do this next week as well.
so we'll see you all then.
That's terrific. Thank you, Rona.
Thank
So
you,
we will do
Rona.
it next week.
Thanks for-
and
Thank you. Thanks for putting this together. It was
It
wonderful.
was beautiful, beautiful.
No,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Rona. Nice
You will
work.
get a notice next week, and then the week after, a real surprise. Okay.
Thank you, Rona.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Rona.
Great
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Carol.
Okay.